Welcome back, gamers. Today I'm reporting to you live from my bed. You may be able to tell by my voice that I am in the trenches of this unknown illness. I thought about just not posting anything this week because my energy is so low, but I really want to avoid skipping a week if I can help it for the sake of maintaining my momentum, so even if I can't get as much done, I designed this series with the intent of holding myself accountable, so at the very least I'll show you guys what I managed to pull together. My goal for this week was to finish the line art for Frostpaw in the full body scene, and while I did make it pretty far, I didn't quite reach my goal. By the end of the week, I was only really able to get myself to sit up and work for like 20 minutes, if I could get up at all. But even if it feels like a step down from my usual like 5 hours, I have to remember that 20 minutes is better than nothing. I did have to go back and sketch out another pass for the legs because I just couldn't get them right, but even with that, I still feel like something's off. I'm deciding to give myself a break from looking at it, and I'm just gonna check back in with them when I feel better because I am done bothering with this right now. But yeah, other than that, I spent this week just chipping away at the lining. You may notice we are missing a tail and have been missing one since we started relining, and that's because I like to finish with the main body before I bother with the extremities. Anyways, I'm happy to call this solid progress in as much as I was able to make any progress this week. That pretty much covers it in terms of what I was able to work on this week, but that would make for a very short and unfulfilling video if I left it at that, so I'm gonna go ahead and reply to a few comments that I found useful or otherwise worth expanding on. The first is this super helpful comment that recommended me this Toniko Pendoha video. This commenter noticed I rely pretty heavily on the onion skin feature to fill out my in-betweens, which may have been getting in the way of strengthening my mental 3D library. I'll definitely be trying out this technique this coming week. I'm super lucky to have an audience that can spot my weak points and that so generously suggests resources for me to check out. You took the time out of your day to leave a timestamp and everything, so thank you so much. This next comment is from a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to respond to it because I felt like this might have been a common response to my fail faster soapbox if the like ratio is anything to go off of. I want you guys to know that when I say fail faster, I'm not saying that despite my perfectionist tendencies. I'm saying it because of my perfectionist tendencies. I think a lot of us artists inhibit our own progress with our perfectionism, and we create this sort of sunk cost fallacy in our minds for our work. After all, what's the point of putting so much time and effort into something that's just going to turn out like shit? But that's what fail faster is for. It's not about powering through a bunch of bad art so you can get to the good stuff, though that's definitely another imperative strategy for improvement. It's about checking in with other artists and getting feedback as early into the process as you can in order to avoid that sunk cost feeling. If you want to improve your art, you need to be humble. You need to recognize that you are probably never going to be permanently satisfied with your abilities, and that may mean that there will always be someone out there who is better than you or knows better than you. This is not a bad thing. It just means that there will always be resources out there for you to tap into. There will always be someone you can count on to look your work over with a fresh or refined eye who will give you the feedback you don't yet know you need. If you're a perfectionist who paralyzes yourself with the worry that your art won't turn out how you want it to, then I think it's worth opening yourself up to getting the failure out of the way as soon as possible so you can feel more confident as you approach your final product. This is not at all to suggest that this commenter wasn't humble or open to critique. I just wanted to use this comment as an opportunity to clarify what I meant when I was talking about failing faster. I think it's a valuable approach to combat perfectionist paralysis, and I didn't want to leave any room for misinterpretation about what I actually meant by it. Finally, this last part is for my own peace of mind. Obviously, if you guys have been following along, you'll recall my epic crash out over the Roadkill God Walk cycle. That was one of many learning experiences that I wish I would have failed faster on after I realized that the imbalance between the front and back halves was causing the feet to slide when I tried to put the character in a background. I got several comments suggesting that I just have the background move instead of the character, so I went ahead and tried that out just to see if it was possible. I was pretty confident it wasn't going to turn out, and as you can see, the inconsistency still makes it impossible to keep the deer moving without one half of the feet sliding around, so I will definitely have to go back and revamp the movement if I really want to make this thing feasible. Definitely worth trying, but ultimately still bummed about it. Thanks for stopping in for this week's video. Sorry that it's so much shorter than usual. I do wish I'd gotten more work done this week. I'm turning ideas over in my head about maybe making daily updates on like my TikTok and Instagram instead of just weekly ones in order to keep myself moving, but it'll have to wait until I'm feeling better because honestly being sick is so ass. I'm used to having a pretty strong immune system, so I need this shit to end like today. Hopefully next week we'll be done with Frostpaw's line art pass, and then it'll all be smooth sailing ahead. Much love, and I'll see you guys in the next one.